the other things that were mentioned, language, linguistic states has been criticized by many people. I think it was sensible to administer people in their own language. But our language policy has, I think, been a disaster. If I want to learn French, Japanese, Portuguese, I know where to go.
Yes.
If I want to learn Gujarati
In Delhi, you don't know where
or
to go.
Telugu, I don't know where to go.
Absolutely.
There are no books. There are no children's books.
Right.
There are no keyboards. There are no
And there
simultaneous
is
interpretation
and there has never been a serious effort to get, say, a North Indian to learn a South Indian language or a South Indian to learn a West Indian language.
Well, we have
never been any serious.
We have this thoroughly bogus three-language formula, which has simply not worked.
Yes.
But to facilitate it, you see, we not learn to make the distinction between language as commerce. To get a job, that's why people want English. They think with world knowledge you'll get a better income, and you'll be looked upon as a superior person.
But that's also a fact on the ground.
Could be, but by saying to distinguish between commerce and culture. Languages need to be kept alive for cultural reasons, and our indigenous languages, many of our dialects, are going away, which I think is a great loss. As I say, to go back to the analogy of the garden, you have some rare plants which occasionally bloom. They add to the beauty of that garden.
Absolutely.
Don't let them be eliminated willfully or
trying to create uniformity.
The other is our teaching of history. What is the history of India? The history of India is the history of Aryavart. Who knows the history of Kerala, of the Cholas and the Pandyas, of Kalinga, of Gujarat? No one. Who knows anything about the Northeast? Within the Northeast, which has a grudge against the rest of the country for feelings of neglect and so on, the history of one part of the Northeast is not known to the other. So we have bred this ignorance. We have done nothing to bridge this. And I think these are all very important factors that have aggravated this sort of problem.
Professor Oman,
you see, let's
point
agree.
raised by
that's
Professor
I'm
Thorat,
responding to Professor Thorat. Let's agree that we have had multiple traditions. The question is not to reject a particular tradition and replace it by some other tradition. The issue is selective retention and selective rejection. Who retains it, who rejects it? At least the community partly should have some role in it. Otherwise, what will happen is the state will dictate everything and others will have to follow. Then it is not really democracy. I'm not referring to Ka Panchayat. I agree with you 102% that some of the practices which are going on are not in consonance with democratic state and constitutional right. There we must take a very hard and harsh position. But because of Mr. Varghese again and again said of vote bank politics, some groups are not willing, in fact all groups are unwilling to do it. But let me just give you one example. Although we always talk about negatively, contemptuously and rightly perhaps about vote bank politics, I'm sure you have read the analysis of the latest US election. Mr. Obama, a non-white or a black, the highest percentage of the black vote went to him.
92%.
Yes. Followed by the
Hispanics.
Followed by Asian Americans. And the largest percentage of vote went to his opponent, white votes. The point I'm trying to make is...
It was dubbed as the Mandelaization of America.
That's right. Whatever is the term that you use, identity of a certain kind simply will persist. All your state ways, all your legislative mechanisms are there in place. But you must not try to push it also too soon. There is a way of doing that. Even the manner in which, again, please don't misunderstand me, I'm not a supporter of Ka Panchayat, but even the manner in which Ka Panchayat is operating also. For example, they have pronounced absolutely clearly against the dowry system.
Yes.
There's a plus point there.
Absolutely.
So my only thing is, you must try to use community resources wherever
selectively.
It is. Selectively, wherever, that's what I said. Selective retention and selective rejection.
Selective retention. Professor Mukherjee, it's a very